T-A-G. Tag. It's time for a tag. Yay. Woo! So this tag was from Nicky and G over at Too Fat, Too Furious. And they basically tagged everyone. And I was like, those are really fun questions. I'm going to do it. So first question is, if animals could talk, which would be the rudest / most annoying? So I think that the rudest animal ever would be a yellow jacket wasp. At first I was thinking just any wasp because they can just sting you continuously, unlike honeybees where the stinger is barbed and then it rips off the lower half of their body and they die. But wasps, they can just keep stinging you, and I just think that's really rude. So I just imagine, like, if wasps could talk, they'd just kind of like, I don't know, be like, screw you, stab, stab. The most annoying animal? Flies are super annoying. They do have a purpose. I'll get back to that. But they're so annoying. They just like run into your face and they land on you with their little tiny feet and they throw up on you and they throw up on your food and they poop on things. And I just imagine if they could talk, it'd be even more annoying. Like, even if they were polite and they were just like, hey, how are you? Blah. That would be pretty annoying. But they do have a purpose. And their purpose in life is to be food for other animals, like birds and fish and reptiles and cool stuff like that. What would be the creepiest thing to say while passing a stranger on the street? So, normally this would not be creepy. Like, if it was a friend and they said, wow, you smell good, I'd be like, thanks. But if you say that to a stranger, I don't know why, it creeps people out, because it's kind of like, why are you sniffing me? But if I could pass a stranger in the street and just go, ooh, you smell good, that might be weird. Even though it's kind of a compliment, like, I'm just telling you that you have good hygiene, or I'm just complimenting your perfume or cologne or something. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends or family think that you did? Probably chain myself to like an old tree that was about to be cut down. What animal would be the cutest if scaled down to the size of a cat? A whale. Like a blue whale. I could just like keep it in like a little tank for a little bit and then I'd let it go. Now if I could scale a tiny animal up to the size of a cat, I would either choose a bumblebee or a jumping spider. What old person thing do you do? Well, I don't think I'm considered an old person yet, so I'll answer this question as if I'm, someone young doing an old person thing. I claim that I could feel weather changes coming in my bones. Grab my hip or my back and be like, I think the snow's coming. I also really like prunes. Does that count? And when I was a kid, I liked to pretend like they were roaches and I would gross the other kids out and be like, look what I'm eating. What did you think was going to be amazing but turned out to be horrible? High heels and vodka. High heels because when I was little, I would see, fancy ladies in their dresses and I would look at their feet and see all these like really pretty high heels, and people would always comment on how beautiful they look. And they just hurt. They're the most uncomfortable thing ever. And I have a ton of them, and they're all in the basement in this plastic like shoe carrier thing. And I should probably just donate them. Oh, and vodka. I would see like movies where fancy ladies were drinking their fancy drinks in their fancy glasses, and it was always like something to do with vodka. And so I thought, yeah, when I'm of age, I'm gonna go to a bar and I'm gonna order like a fancy drink with like vodka in it. It's gonna be so good and so fancy. It is the grossest thing. I hate vodka. I hate it. It makes me nauseous. I just want to throw up. Just thinking about it right now. What do you do if you can't fall asleep but have to? I turn to substances. And by substances, I mean melatonin. Do you know how to pump your own gas? I sure do. What is the one thing you can't leave home without? If I had to pick maybe two things, I would say cash and pepper spray. Because not everybody accepts credit cards, and if someone sees me whip out my cash and starts following me, I want to be able to... Does pepper spray even make a noise? I haven't had to spray anyone yet, but you know, one day I might find out. But I imagine that like when it sprays, it just makes this loud like hairspray noise, like... What is your favorite quarantine activity? Honestly, I love watching YouTube videos. If I am stuck here in my house, I will watch YouTube videos, pretend to read books. I'll watch drawing tutorials and try to like figure out how to draw better. I watch a lot of ukulele tutorials. I think that's all. Can you swim? Yes, I can. My mother told me when I was a freshman in high school that by joining the swim team, it was basically like swimming lessons. So I did not know how to swim, which is odd for someone in Hawaii, I guess, because we're like surrounded by water. I didn't know how to swim, and I joined the swim team in high school and just kind of figured, well, they'll teach me. They kind of had to teach me or I was gonna die on their watch. So they taught me how to swim properly. I was the slowest one on the team. Swim meets were interesting. It's kind of like other swimmers knew that if they were in the same heat as me, that they would not be last that day. Their parents could be proud. You're welcome. Can you ride a bike? Not really. So I didn't have a bike growing up. My sister did, but I wasn't allowed to touch it. And my best friend had this really pretty purple bike with like a rainbow banana seat. It was one of those long seats and it had streamers. And I remember I tried to ride it and I didn't know what I was doing. And I got really excited and I jumped on the bike and I proceeded to ride it down the street. We didn't have sidewalks in our neighborhood. There were just like ditches. I don't know if that's normal. We had just like ditches in our neighborhood. And so I was riding it down the street and I felt the bike pulling towards a ditch. And so I got nervous and I overcorrected and ended up hitting a mailbox, flying off into the road and just kind of laying there. The neighbor found me and like had to carry me home. It was very dramatic. There was a rock in my forehead and there was rocks all in my elbows and my hands. So I just thought bikes were evil and I just wrote off the whole idea. I'm never riding a bike again. And maybe my mom was relieved because she's like, ooh, good, I don't have to buy a bike. Can you wink? I think so. Can you drive a car? I can, but only one. Only one at a time. And the last question, can you play an instrument? Is it necessary to like open half your mouth when you wink, like